Today we're taking a look at an Amazon pre-built that has not an Intel quad-core i7, but a Ryzen 7.
And for some reason, we think they're getting rid of bad reviews on it. This is gonna be an interesting one after a word from today's sponsor.
Listen, building a gaming PC is only part of the process. Once you finish planning your perfect gaming PC build to get the best price performance, you need to make sure to install and activate Windows 11 with today's video sponsor, gvgmall. Use our link in the description down below to find the Windows 11 key. Use code TB20 on checkout to save even more money, upping your price to performance game. Then you'll get a copy of the key sent straight to you. Take that key, throw it into a Windows 11 PC of your choice during the install process or after the install is done, and boom, you now have an activated Windows 11 with access of all the features it has to offer. Use our link down below and use code TB20 on checkout and you'll save some money on your Windows activation. Big thanks again to gvgmall for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the video, shall we?
Guys, should we get Wolverine claws to do our unboxings? Let us know down below. But let me elaborate on what I mentioned here. This is a ViprTech PC from Amazon for $549. Features an RX 580, Ryzen 7 2700, 32 gigs of DDR4 memory, a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, 700-watt power supply, and white sleeve cables.
The box is green.
Which is great. But we should talk about this whole review thing because when I planned this video, this PC was pretty poorly rated on Walmart and Amazon, around a 3-star average. And the original concept is, why is this PC so poorly rated? Well, after Jackson went back to type up description and things like that a few days later, it looks like those bad reviews were deleted. We're gonna leave those reviews up here and show you guys what the listing looks like now. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if Amazon stepped in and said those weren't valid reviews or they found a way to get rid of them, but we gotta see, is this thing actually bad or were there some weird trickery things going on?
Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to get rid of an Amazon review, but it's definitely interesting because that was all within a few days that I went to type that description. I am opening upside down.
Yeah, I just noticed we are opening upside down, so the unboxing experience may differ.
I just had already started, you know, so I was like, well.
I will say this is interesting for a PC like
I've
this.
green. So this is called the Stryker 1.0 AMD. Ooh, hand signed.
Which, shout out, so we have the builder RE, and I'm assuming that's Lewis.
Oh, that's cool. So it's kind of like what we do at PC Bros. Someone has to check it off. It's pretty cool.
All this looks legit. I mean, this looks better so far on paper in terms of like the effort they went into it versus like a STG, which clearly is just mass manufacturing stuff. This seems to be something where people take time to write all this stuff out.
This is cool. I mean, they literally put like speeds, degrees, and look, 3 different people it went through. So if it doesn't work,
yeah, I mean,
it must have gotten really unlucky in shipping.
McAllister, I'm gonna have Jonah get a picture of this to put on screen so you can see everything here. But yeah, read-write speeds, low temp, everything like that. So a lot of extra stuff. So that, I mean, that's cool so far. Shout out to ViprTech, because ViprTech has appeared on this channel many times, and normally it's not in great light. It's normally either a pretty bad configuration or a poorly rated PC.
Which, speaking of bad configuration, we do gotta talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the 2048 RX 580. And also, what is this
Guys,
packaging?
I promise you, you know there's been many times that okay, how do we get this out of here? First of all, let's worry about this first. I promise you, I'm not trying to buy pre-built to the 580 2048. It's just all the interesting ones come with it, and it's just, I don't know what to do.
It's basically like all the ones that we think are gonna be probably not the greatest and are going to have some good viewer interaction. 2048.
So here we go. It's all white. One thing about it is they'll come with white sleeve cables, which is something you don't normally see in a pre-built on Amazon for $549. So we'll see what those look like.
I gotta ask too, did they disclose that it's a 2048 or is it the usual?
It just says 580.
580. Yeah, and guys, this is something that we complain about this every single time we do one of these. We don't care where it's from. We don't care who the company is. You need to put that this is a 2048.
I'm looking at the label right now.
Yeah,
it says 580 2048.
It's not the same as a 588 gig. It's technically like a 578 gig.
So it looks like we have an all white motherboard, which the aesthetics are not bad. I will be honest here. We have a Team Group drive, so that's name brand. Team Group RAM, which is name brand. So it should be 32 gigs of DDR4 memory. That CPU, okay, I just noticed something here. Did you see this, Jonah? Sleeve cable, ketchup and mustard for the CPU power. That is,
they ran out of sleeve cable.
That's crazy talk.
It's weird because they definitely have the room for it.
What is going on? This is a blast from the past.
Look at that, nice little Molex train, but there's not really points deducted there. It does make it to where the RGB is kind of proprietary. Well, I say kind of, it really is.
100% is.
And it just uses a reset switch. I gotta say, it's not a bad looking board, and for it being an A520, we do get 2 4-pins for the CPU. There's no VRM covers, that's typical A520. So we know we got ketchup and mustard. What's your all's guess? What brand and wattage?
It's probably ViprTech something, 500 watts, but also I don't know.
I'm gonna say 5.
Yeah, I'll say 5.
Oh yeah, it probably is gonna be. I forgot that they kind of brand their stuff, just like their 580 2048s. It is ViprTech, and it is No, it's a 700 watt. It's an ATX CH700W.
You know, I said in the intro the full list of specs, and I did say it was a 700 watt power supply. Now that I take that back. So to verify, there's the 700 watt power supply that is inside there. Okay, well, airflow wise, RGB fans are in the positions I would put them. I will say this basement has no ventilation right here, so these like intake fans on the bottom, I don't know where they're getting air from. I mean, there are holes to get into the basement, but it's not really gonna do that much. Intake up top, one in the back. It's fine. I mean, it's the traditional like fish tank style case. Exhaust up top, sorry.
I mean, honestly, and for how low powered this build's gonna be.
It doesn't need it. I doubt we're having any overheating issues. It's just some weird choices, like the CPU power not having a
I mean, it's
cable.
Honestly, props to them for even doing this, like the quote unquote ugly side they made proper. So.
Okay, well, let's plug it up and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
I imagine it's gonna be like an RGB explosion. Was there a reset switch that came off this, or is it just gonna be?
It's a reset switch for RGB. Which, I mean, I gotta say, so far, minus the 580 and some of the no-name brand parts, I mean, they did a good job packaging, cable management.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It definitely, but the thing is, like, you know, you go to the second gen Ryzen, you know, you definitely, you would think you have an upgrade path. You have a little bit of an upgrade path, a better GPU, but I mean, it's not bad. I will say, of all the Amazon pre-builts, aesthetically, it is not bad.
I gotta say, when it's all white,
It's pretty clean. So the whole review thing, I guess the only thing we can really do is game on it and make sure it works for us. If we have issues, obviously we will be able to reaffirm all those bad reviews. But yeah, interesting story about this PC. Let's see if it works for us and go from there.
In a world where graphics cards are hard to get, this might make sense.
All right, guys, we are kicking things off with some good old Fortnite. Running unlimited frame rate DX12 far regions low textures. This is going to be our CPU-bound test. We will do CS2 during the built-in benchmark section as well to really test the CPU running low settings, but this should test the CPU a lot. But we are running DX12, which, as you can tell, still maxing out that RX 580 2048, or if you guys don't know, I like to give the history lesson here. The 580 2048 has the same amount of stream processors as an RX 570, so therefore it should just be an RX 570, but they labeled it a 580. So it's basically an RX 570, so just keep that in mind. But every single time we test these cards, as long as they're paired with a decent CPU, you should have no problems getting, see, 90 to 100 FPS. I imagine this 120 we're getting right now is because there's nothing going on. It's probably gonna be more like 90-ish FPS because we are at 100%, 99% on the GPU. But so far, setting this thing up wasn't too bad. Getting it all out of the box and everything. The one thing that was kind of weird we see in some pre-builts is this was already set up within Windows. So once you turn the computer on, you were on the Windows splash screen. Not amazing. Most pre-built companies normally set the out-of-box experience where you have to agree to all the Microsoft's terms and everything. So again, not amazing there. But everything else seemed to be fine. Drivers are within a normal range. They're not super out of date. Everything seems pretty acceptable. That's a real gamer. Ah! Boogie, boogie! Regroup, regroup. Oh my goodness. Nope, nope, I wanted this. Let's kill some AI because I feel like I'm gonna die in like 2 seconds. So let's act like I did something. Let's hope this guy's going around the corner on me. Okay. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. He had 8 HP, what just happened there? Okay, one more drop. Why did my gun shoot? Was my gun out of ammo? I wasn't even paying attention. That was like the slowest shooting ever. I will say, one thing I was worried about, and actually, you know, now that I think about it, that wattage is incredibly low on the Ryzen 7 2700. We're getting about 60 to 70% usage and only pulling about 30 watts. That seems kind of low on the 2700. I'm gonna look up what the TDP of that CPU is. I thought that's a 95 watt CPU. It could be 65 though, because it's a non-X, but I'll have to do a little refresher on that and see what's going on there, because that seems a little low. Imagine you need to do a stress test to see if there's something going on there. Okay, bagel boy. All specs aside, 580 2048, I'm annoyed by it. I don't like using it as much anymore. But all specs aside, this is the kind of performance I think somebody would expect of spending $500 on a PC on Amazon. Is it better than building yourself? Absolutely not. And there's still gonna be that person in the comments who's like, this is e-waste, why would you buy this? I'm like, it's the pre-built market. It's really hard to get price performance in the pre-built sector, especially at this price point. So I don't really blame the company too much for that, but yeah, no, it's one of those things where I'm still glad to see what we're getting here for the price point. It's acceptable. Lady Luck. Not so lucky anymore. But yeah, guys, I think I'll call Fortnite here. As you see, we got a few more kills. Everything was running pretty smooth, no major crashes or anything like that. So I'm gonna have Jackson play some Call of Duty, which is obviously gonna be a worst case scenario in terms of esports titles for this little RX 580 2048. And then from there, during the outro, when we talk about the other benchmarks, I am going to load up the BIOS and see if the BIOS is accessible, if there's anything you can do in the BIOS, and kind of touch on that a little bit, and also run a stress test on that CPU, because I'm wondering here what's going on, because that clock speed and TDP seems a little bit low for the 2700, but I'll also have to verify that and see where we got from there. But hey, Fortnite is acceptable, especially for this price point.
All right, guys, we are playing some Call of Duty Warzone. This is Warzone 5.0, and we're currently dropping in. We're doing some solos resurgence. We're running some very low settings because the PC just ain't quite great. We're running basic preset, no upscaling or anything, so we're all natty here. And I'm really dropping late.
Wow.
That's okay. But yeah, so a couple takeaways that we've noticed that I know Matt talked about some is number one is the CPU just seems like it's not, doable.
Oh.
The CPU just seems like it's not able to fully boost and everything like it should because of this motherboard. And on top of that, we're also having, oh my God, get up and I feel like that was around the corner. And on top of that, you know, this 580 2048, basically 570, just, you know, they're not the greatest card these days. We've barely even been building with these cards anymore because they're almost unusable unless you know exactly what you're going to be playing.
This is one of those games. Yeah, it's not one of these games.
But, you know, on the cool side, though, with just PC in general, it is playable, which is cool. I definitely would not consider it even close to like a competitive experience, but, you know, if this is your first PC, you can definitely play the game. All right, we're gonna play the long game here.
You're done, bud. Is he just disconnecting? Like, what's happening? What was the goal there, buddy? Stay trippy.
Who the AFK?
AFK, your boy Kenny. I say this every time, but McAllister, I think cuts it most of the time. He probably cut it this time. If there's any companies out there who want to send us headphones to wear for gaming, you know how to reach us.
Who's this guy?
The sweeper. They killed Kroger brand.
God, dude, this
FPS
is insane.
That's how you die right there.
That's 40 FPS hell right there.
Yeah, you know, there were times where it was kind of playable, but yeah, overall, you don't even need a 2700 with this. I mean, I guess maybe for Fortnite this is going to be okay, but there's no reason. Honestly, this would be a good example of just put the i7 quad core back in it.
Yeah, so all in all, interesting PC. We'll talk more about the BIOS, the stress test that we're gonna run on the CPU and everything, but all in all, it's kind of how we expect the specs to perform, and it hasn't crashed, so at least there's that.
All right, guys, so we just got done checking out this PC right here, and you know, the good news is it didn't crash, it didn't blue screen, but the bad news is just the things that we said before, the fact that it is a 2048, which is basically a 570, and they don't disclose that, and then we kind of think it's a weird pairing overall.
We have seen this spec range before, and actually fairly recently on that Amazon PC, the Cyclone. It was the RX 580 with the Ryzen 7 2700, and at that price, I think it was around $497. It was good bang for buck. There wasn't any major issues going on there, but this one with the motherboard holding back the CPU and just some of the weird things going on here, it isn't an amazing deal, but it does look pretty clean. We'll talk about the rest of the benchmarks real quick. We also ran CS2 1080p low settings, and we got a very stuttery experience. We got an average of 167 with a 1% low of 92, but as you see here, a lot of random lockups. Wukong at 1080p low settings with FSR at 50%, got an average of 55 FPS, a max of 68, a minimum of 41, and that 30 mark score was only 3,932, which for this PC is a 14 cent per point score. And as I mentioned, I was going to show you guys the BIOS. The BIOS is incredibly limited. You can see it right here, not a ton you can do here. And that OCCT stress test that we ran showed that the CPU was limited to only 43 watts on the CPU, which is way lower than the 65 it's rated for, and it was only boosting up to 3.3 gigahertz. So all in all, you're not getting the full performance from this PC, but it does work. And I don't know, I'm still a little bit hesitant because of all those reviews being removed, but I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think of this PC, and would you consider buying one at 550 bucks?
But as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Now, PC roast for $475, we have our sleeper PC, which comes with at least an 8 Gen i5 and an RTX 3050 6GB, and I would definitely say it's a better bang for buck.
You're gonna give up some of the aesthetics that this one has, but if you want raw performance, which we like to do here at the Toasty Bros, you can definitely do that with our sleeper PC, and you use code ToastyBros on checkout and save even more money, 3% to be exact, on the purchase of a PC today. See you guys later. Goodbye. This guy throwing gang signs?